Today, we are diving into one of the most uniquely devastating genetic conditions known to science, Huntington's disease.
So, what is it really? Well, at its core, Huntington's is a disease that just takes things away. It slowly, relentlessly breaks down nerve cells in the brain. And over the course of about 15 to 20 years, it impacts everything: a person's ability to move, to think, and even to feel. But where does a process like this even begin?
The answer is kind of mind-blowing. The origin of this disease isn't some external virus or a physical injury. Nope. It's a tiny, repetitive error, a biological typo, you could say, right inside our own genetic code. And it's one that gets passed down through generations.
Okay, so to really get a handle on Huntington's, you have to understand just how completely it affects a person. It's not just one thing. Doctors actually describe the symptoms in 3 distinct categories. They call it the Triad.
First up, you have the motor symptoms. The one most people have heard of is chorea. These are involuntary, jerky, almost dance-like movements. Then you have the cognitive decline. This affects things like planning, memory, what we call executive functions, and it often progresses into full-blown dementia. And then there's the third part, the psychiatric symptoms. These can actually show up years before anything else. We're talking severe depression, anxiety, huge personality changes. It is, quite literally, a 3-pronged attack on the self.
For a lot of people, this disease was just some abstract medical term for a long time. That is, until the story of the folk legend Woody Guthrie came out. His really tragic public decline and his death from Huntington's back in 1967, that brought this rare condition into the spotlight. It turned an illness into a human story of loss that touched millions. In fact, it was his wife Marjorie who went on to start one of the very first major support organizations. So you have to wonder, how can one single gene cause so much widespread chaos? It's a great question. And the answer wasn't actually found until 1993, after this massive, decade-long search. What scientists discovered was less like a broken gene and more like a genetic stutter. Okay, this is so fascinating because the error itself is so simple. All of us, every single one of us, has the Huntington gene, or HTT. Now, in most of us, a specific little DNA sequence, CAG, repeats a totally healthy number of times, maybe 10 or 20 times. But in Huntington's disease, that sequence just stutters. It repeats over and over and over again, way too many times. And that expansion creates a toxic, mutant version of the protein that gets all misshapen and starts causing all the damage. And this table just lays it all out so clearly. It shows the direct link between the number of those CAG repeats and the disease. If you have fewer than 36 repeats, you're pretty much in the clear. But once you hit 40 or more, it is a near certainty that you will develop Huntington's. And what's more, the higher that number goes, the earlier the symptoms tend to show up, and the faster they get worse. It's like a devastatingly precise blueprint for the disease, written right into your DNA.
This genetic certainty then leads directly to how the disease is inherited. The gene is dominant, which means you only need one copy from one parent to get the disease. So for every single child of a parent with Huntington's, the odds are a literal coin flip, a stark 50-50 chance of inheriting that faulty gene.
So we've got the faulty gene, right? And it's making this toxic protein. But how does that protein actually go about destroying parts of the brain? What's really happening on a cellular level? Okay, so try to picture it like a slow-motion traffic jam inside your brain cells. Those mutant Huntington proteins are like broken down cars. They don't fold right, so they get sticky, and they start clumping together into these big messes called inclusion bodies. These clumps basically clog up the cell's machinery, messing up communication, stopping energy production, until, eventually, the neuron just gives up and dies. Now, this is really crucial. This cell death isn't random. It hits hardest in a specific part of the brain called the basal ganglia. Now, if the brain is like a symphony orchestra, the basal ganglia is the conductor. It's in charge of coordinating movement, our mood, and our thinking. So as these specific cells start to die off, the conductor loses control. And what you get is that triad of symptoms: chaotic movements, cognitive decline, and emotional chaos. The orchestra falls apart. Knowing the exact genetic cause of Huntington's creates this really profound and unique dilemma. You see, since 1993, we've had a test that can tell people with 100% certainty if they are going to develop this incurable disease, often decades before any symptoms even start to show up. And that brings up this incredibly powerful question, one that every single person living in a family with Huntington's has to face. If you could know your future, your own unavoidable medical destiny, would you really want to? It's just an impossibly heavy decision. I mean, on the one hand, knowing could help you make huge life choices about your career or about having kids. But on the other hand, a positive result is a devastating psychological burden. There's the real risk of genetic discrimination. It immediately tells you that your siblings or other relatives are also at risk. And looming over it all is the fact that there's no cure. When you look at all that, it's maybe no surprise that over 95% of people who are eligible for the test choose not to know.
And a huge part of that decision is just this stark reality right here. There is no cure. Treatment today isn't about stopping the disease or reversing it. It's about managing the symptoms, day by day. There are medications that can help with the jerky movements. Therapy can help with the psychiatric issues. It's all about supportive care to maintain quality of life for as long as humanly possible.
But that is not the end of the story, not by a long shot. Because while the present can look pretty grim, the journey of scientific research offers this incredible, powerful dose of hope for the future.
Just look at this arc of progress. It's amazing. From the first description way back in 1872, it took over 100 years to finally find the gene in 1993. But since then, the pace has just exploded. By 2015, we saw the first human trials for a revolutionary idea called gene silencing. Basically, drugs designed to tell the faulty gene to just stop making the toxic protein. And now, in 2025, we're seeing early results from gene therapy that show real science of slowing the disease down. We are finally moving from just managing symptoms to actually targeting the root cause.
And that leaves us with this final, really hopeful question. You see, Huntington's was one of the very first genetic diseases to be mapped so precisely, and now it's at the absolute forefront of genetic medicine. It's pioneering therapies that could one day do more than just treat the disease, they could actually silence the typo in our code for good. The battle against Huntington's might just teach us how to fight some of our other most devastating inherited diseases.